Jesus' death on a cross is one of the world's greatest mysteries. A brutal execution that birthed a religion. He was beaten, forced to carry a cross.
The whole idea was, to humiliate people and to terrify.
And ultimately crucified. Jesus died within 6 hours, but his body was never found. His precise cause of death remains unknown to this day. How did Jesus really die? Perfected by the Romans, crucifixion is the most cruel and agonizing form of death. Often used on criminals and revolutionaries, victims are stripped and hung for all to see in the ultimate form of humiliation. Forensic pathologist Michael Hunter wants to find out exactly how Jesus died. Here are some of his most compelling theories. Theory number 1, death by asphyxia. When stretched on a cross, chest muscles can tire. Breathing then becomes shallow, starving our brain of oxygen. To test this theory, 3 volunteers are suspended on a cross.
Lee, how are you doing? Tell me, are you hurting anywhere?
Oh, yeah. My legs, especially in my shoulders, feel like they're coming out of socket.
Yeah. You, as long as you can, hang on there. Can you go anymore?
I'm fine now.
All right, no, just I want you to go as long as you can.
Doctors monitor their vital stats.
So, what was it feeling like for you?
Just a lot of, breathing wasn't so bad.
Yeah.
But just my thighs.
Right.
Just cramping, extreme pain.
Did you feel like you were short of breath, or was it mostly just
No, not the breathing. It was just mostly the arms.
But he's not what, nasal, there's no nasal flaring. He's not having trouble getting in oxygen. He's not mouth breathing. He's fine.
Further tests on oxygen levels reveal that death by asphyxiation would take over 6 hours. But the Bible says Jesus took 6 hours to die on the cross.
So if indeed this was the case, then you really have to think of other mechanisms. Asphyxia is pretty much off the table.
Absolutely off the table here.
Theory number 2, dehydration from fluid and blood loss. Gospel accounts tell of Jesus sweating blood on the night before his death. Under extreme emotional stress, blood vessels around sweat glands can rupture. This is known as hematidrosis, where the skin sweats blood. This can lead to dehydration and death. But was this the main cause of Jesus' death? Theory number 3, hypovolemic shock. It is a medical condition where rapid fluid loss results in multiple organ failure. The night before his crucifixion, Jesus was scourged, brutally whipped.
Scourging was an integral part of the punishment of crucifixion, a public display of humiliation, a public display of the Roman imposition of their authority on a lower-class criminal.
Their weapon of choice was a whip known as a flagrum, made of braided leather, lead balls, and sharp cowbone fragments. These whips were designed to inflict maximum pain and injury. Dr. Hunter puts the flagrum's brutality to the test on a carcass.
Wow! These islands of bone just free floating.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's completely pulpified. So, the impacts are so severe. You have rib fractures, anterior lateral, but you also have more posterior.
Oh, look at that. They are complete fractures.
This would certainly hasten blood loss, dehydration, and death.
Jesus was then forced to carry his own cross to his execution. Made of oak, it was 6 feet long and weighed close to 40 kilograms.
You have Jesus who's carrying something that's weighing 80 pounds,
He sustained, severe trauma. His heart rate is probably rising, his respiration is really rising, he's struggling. So I can imagine that he's starting to get fatigue in his legs. He may get somewhat disoriented, and it brings up the possibility of him likely or possibly falling.
According to Christian tradition, Jesus fell 3 times. Dr. Hunter finds out through an experiment what falling with the cross might do to the body.
Yeah, he bounces off.
Results show possible skull and rib fractures.
This is the head acceleration measured by the accelerometer. And we're getting just short of 350 G. Now that is significant.
Doctors believe skull fractures and concussions can occur at about 220 G.
This is quite significant loading onto the chest. If you repeat this a number of times, then in fact the overall consequences could be a lot worse.
His falls would have increased organ injuries caused by the scourging.
I believe Jesus suffers dehydration from profuse sweating, external bleeding, and lack of fluid intake. He's likely to be bleeding into his chest through fractured ribs. His internal organs may also be ruptured and bleeding. With his lungs likely partially functioning, he has difficulty in breathing and shifting blood and oxygen around his body. Once he loses 20% of his blood, he starts to go into hypovolemia. His organs, his heart, his brain will starve of blood and ultimately oxygen. Hypovolemic shock, resulting in respiratory failure and cardiac arrest, explains how Jesus would have died within 6 hours on the cross.